Tonight, the start of a life behind bars for the double murderer too busy to turn up for sentencing. Shane March stubbornly refused to leave his cell, instead facing the family of Elena Odessus, who he stabbed to death via video link. An Old Bailey judge told him it'll be 42 years before he can be considered for release.
Nothing will bring my daughter back, but the thought that he won't be able to do this to anybody else, never be able to hurt anybody else again. Justice has been served.
Also ahead, Dawn Butler opens up about the vile racist abuse she receives on a daily basis and says it's getting worse. What next for Andrew Mountbatten Windsor? The disgraced former prince faces eviction from Windsor after Christmas. And it's Halloween and there's ghostly goings-on in Hanwell. We're live at the house everyone is talking about. Good evening. It's only sentencing. The words of double murderer Shane March this morning as he arrogantly refused to leave his cell and attend the Old Bailey. It was, however, to be his last power play. This afternoon, March appeared via video link to hear the judge hand down a full life term with a minimum 42 years behind bars. The family of Elena Odessus, the pregnant partner he stabbed to death, say justice has been served. They spoke to our senior correspondent, Ronke Phillips.
They had waited more than a year for justice and were hoping the man who killed their loved one would get a whole life sentence. But they said knowing he would serve 42 years was the next best thing.
We're pleased with the outcome. 42 years, yeah. And the point is, nothing will bring my daughter back, but the thought that he won't be able to do this to anybody else, never be able to hurt anybody else again. Justice has been served.
32-year-old Elena Odessus was 8 weeks pregnant with her third child when she was stabbed at least 23 times. Neighbours found her bleeding heavily, dressed only in a nightgown, outside her home, shouting, "Shane stabbed me, he stabbed me." Elena was referring to the partner she'd been in a relationship with for just 4 months. Shane March, who left her dying on the ground, had a list of previous convictions, including one for murder. When he was 21, March fatally stabbed teenager Andre Drummond at a McDonald's. He was convicted of his murder in 2000 at the Old Bailey. He secured his release on licence in early 2013, but was recalled to prison later the same year after he stamped on the stomach of his then pregnant partner. In February 2018, he was released from prison again, but as a convicted murderer, he remained on licence and was involved with the probation services when he murdered Elena.
What do you say to the probation services? Do you feel as though they failed you?
I think they were stupid. They should never have let him out in the first place.
In his sentencing remarks, the judge, who lifted reporting restrictions when March changed his plea to guilty, said he was sure he intended to kill Elena.
You killed Elena knowing that she was pregnant. It appears that at least one of the stab wounds was aimed towards her reproductive organs. In any event, it was clear that you intended to kill her and that her baby would therefore, at that early stage of pregnancy, have no chance of surviving the attack.
Elena's family say they now want to concentrate on her and the memories she has left them.
You know, she's in our hearts, isn't she? And
yes, always with us.
She will never leave us.
Ronke Phillips, ITV News.
The London family of British political commentator Sami Hamdi has accused the US government of abducting him. Hamdi runs geopolitical website The International Interest and has in the past made inflammatory comments about the Israel-Gaza conflict. He was detained by immigration enforcers known as ICE while on a speaking tour in Florida at the weekend and has had his visa revoked. Kafo Pata has the story.
I'm Sumaya Hamdi and my husband has been taken by the United States government.
5,000 miles from London in a US immigration detainee centre lies Sumaya's husband. Sami Hamdi, a British journalist and staunch critic of the Israeli government, had travelled to North America for a speaking tour, but come Sunday he was arrested, seemingly for his political views.
Sumaya, when was the last time you spoke to Sami?
He was able to call yesterday, only briefly, and I know he's putting on a brave face because he's really worried that his family are going to be concerned about him. He knows we are already so stressed about the whole situation, but I know that he's being kept in a room with 60 other detainees. He's you know, trying to keep up good spirits. He's strong, but can you imagine, Kath, you know, being detained, abducted by United States officials because of your political views?
His arrest was carried out by the Immigrations and Customs Enforcement Agency, better yet known as ICE. It came after Laura Loomer, a far-right political activist and ally of President Trump, accused Sammy of supporting terrorist organizations.
Hey everybody, we are calling on every freedom-loving American to join ICE today.
That same Sammy as a terrorist sympathizer rhetoric has been echoed by the Assistant Secretary of Public Affairs. In now deleted social media posts, she wrote, "This individual's visa was revoked and he is in ICE custody pending removal." Under President Trump, those who support terrorism and undermine American national security will not be allowed to work or visit this country. It's common sense.
It's outrageous. It's completely outrageous.
Does Sammy's race and religion have anything to do you think, with how he was treated?
Yes, absolutely.
What do you want to say to the United States government?
Release Sammy immediately. They need to send him home. He wants to come home. They're holding him against his will.
So far, no response from the US State Department when we asked them why they were still holding Sammy. All the UK Foreign Office told us was that they are in touch with local authorities and Sammy's family. For Samaya, that isn't enough, but all she can do is hope and wait. Kath Opata, ITV News.
Now, even by his own recent standards, the last 24 hours have been humiliating for Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. The Andrew, formerly known as Prince, has had his title stripped, his home in Windsor repossessed, and he's been removed from the official role of the peerage. He's consistently denied any wrongdoing in his relationship with convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein, but could still face a police probe. Well, royal commentator Dickie Arbiter joins me now. Thanks so much for coming in. You're not at all surprised by this move, are you?
I'm not surprised at all. It was inevitable. It wasn't a question of if, but when. And what's been happening over the past few weeks with the revelation of more emails, proof that Andrew had been lying all the way through ever since that Newsnight interview in November 2019, the King had to make a very hard decision. And he made it, but it took time. People say, why did it take time? Well, there are constitutional issues, there are legal issues that he had to discuss and take advice from government as well. And he's done what everybody was hoping that he would do, to put the institution of monarchy, because he's there to protect the institution, back on an even kilter without the business of Andrew overshadowing everything that they do. Look at Pope Leo last week when the King was at the Vatican. What was on the front page of the newspapers? Andrew, when it should have been the King praying with the Pope.
Exactly. And when can we expect to see him moving out of Royal Lodge in Windsor?
Well, that's really up to the negotiations with the Crown Estate. There are certain legal hoops that have got to be gone through. There's the question of compensation. Is there going to be any compensation? Because the Royal Lodge is in a bit of a state. It's got rot, it's got mould, and this has to be fixed up. And the fixing up is going to be taken from the compensation. So Andrew might not end up with anything. It depends how bad it is. But there are all sorts of legal issues got to be sorted out. And I would have thought in the not too distant future, I'm not going to pin a date on it because it would be wrong to speculate, but it's once all the negotiations with the Crown Estate have been completed.
When we spoke to people in Windsor last week to get opinion on what should be done about Andrew, almost unanimously everyone said, we don't like them living in our town. Now he's going to Sandringham. Can he expect a warm welcome there?
Well, I don't think that there's going to be the same effect, because Sandringham, the villages are scattered. Sandringham's a big estate, so he'll have one of the houses on the estate which will be quite remote. So he'll have very little contact with the locals, except those that go and visit the big house. But he'll probably keep a very low profile because he won't want to be seen, and I don't think people will want to see him anyway.
No, indeed. OK, thanks very much indeed. Fascinating to talk to you, Dickie Arbiter. Thanks for coming
Caroline.
in. Next, to an eventful week in the life of Brent East MP Dawn Butler. She narrowly avoided being thrown out of the House of Commons on Monday and had to apologise for calling a Reform MP a racist. Today, she opened up to ITV News London about the amount of racist abuse she receives on social media, something she says has got much worse since Labour came to power. She spoke to our reporter Antoine Allen, and a warning: this report contains examples of that racist and highly offensive language.
You can be black and brown and be British, so I'm completely offended by that comment. It is a racist comment, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Dawn Butler has faced an increase in vile racist abuse since accusing Reform MP Sarah Pochin of making a derogatory statement about the amount of black people the MP sees in TV adverts.
Why was it important for you to call out the words of the Reform MP?
Because if we shy away from calling out racism when it happens, all that happens is that it grows.
The MP for Brent East knows far too well the extent to which racism is growing. These are just 1 month's comments from her online accounts. I was given special access to the social media abuse Butler receives. Many comments are too derogatory to show in full on TV.
These disgustingly racist comments pose both a threat to Dawn's mental and physical health. I've just seen a comment here which reads, in the good old days of the British Empire, she would have been taken outside and shot. That's a clear threat. Now, MPs fear that words can quite easily become violent actions.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Face-to-face meetings with strangers. The life of an MP dedicated to serving their constituents.
How can I help you?
Some need words of advice, and others a more personal show of support. Each interaction comes with the potential of danger.
We used to have very much open surgeries so that anyone can just turn up. But because of the threats, we no longer do that. You have to book an appointment. But even then there is a worry. So we do have security and everything, which is something that I have to do.
So many of the comments are shocking. How does it affect your mental health?
It does have an effect because of the volume. We have free speech in this country, but not hate speech. So we have to call out the hate speech and we have to stop it from happening.
Butler's mental health is protected by her staff, who don't show her the worst comments.
This is, I would say, maybe even 10% of what Dawn receives on a monthly basis.
In order to make sure the trolls do not win, once a month Butler exposes the shameful comments on her social media accounts, whilst using the positive support of her followers to give her the strength to serve not just this borough.
And the abuse, the comments won't stop you one day accomplishing your dream of becoming the first black London mayor?
Not at all. Not at all. I think that it will be a shining example of what London can achieve.
The abuse may never stop, but no amount of racist words will deter this MP from representing her community. Antoine Allen, ITV News.
British Transport Police have released a CCTV image of a woman they want to speak to after a man was pushed onto the train tracks at Worcester Park railway station. The incident happened on the morning of Tuesday, September the 30th. The victim was taken to hospital where he was treated for a broken shoulder blade, collarbone, ribs and nose. 962 people have been arrested thanks to live facial recognition in the last year, according to the Metropolitan Police. The new AI technology scans faces and compares them to people on the Met's database. Those arrested were wanted by police or the courts. More than a quarter of them were involved in violence against women and girls. From this weekend, the Royal Parks Police will no longer exist after more than 150 years. The Met's scrapping the specialist unit to help fill a £260 million funding gap. Instead, regular officers will cover the 5,000 acres of green spaces, including Hyde Park and Richmond Park. Now, London has become permanent home to my guest tonight, a comedian from California who moved to the UK for love over a decade ago and is now forging a career that's seen her headline at the Fringe, appear on hit shows such as Taskmaster, Would I Lie to You and live at the Apollo. Desiree Birch is now touring the UK with her new show, The Golden Wrath. And before we speak to her, let's remind ourselves of her work.
Who are my cat people tonight? Who are the cat people in the room? Cat people? Yes. Meow. Meow, 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 meow. Okay, meow. Cool. Cat. Seriously, I moved here from New York 2 years ago. Are the rudest people on planet Earth walking the streets of London right now? Is that how the city works? Oh my God. You know what? I think I'm gonna come for some ducks.
Oh, right.
And Desiree, I'm delighted to say, is here with me now. Hang on a minute. Is Londoners really the rudest people on the earth?
Well, it's there are rude people in major international cities across the world, but I definitely find that as somebody who clearly takes up a lot of space, people here, I'm just kind of like, do you need a hug? The amount of people who just walk into me as though I take up no substance. I was like, did you want me to disperse into glitter? What are you doing?
Absolute A to B, tunnel vision.
Yeah, and it's you know that moment when someone walks and they don't move and you don't move and you're like, should we dance? What's happening here? Because we both want to move on. It just seems very inefficient, but also I get that people like meeting strangers in this town.
Yeah, they're getting used to it. So do you consider yourself a Londoner now, or do you still miss California?
I mean, I grew up in California and I lived in New York for 13 years before I moved to London. So this city is a wonderful amalgam of the sort of green spaces that I'm accustomed to, even though obviously California is much more desert, and the bustling city, you know, kind of like old buildings and like nooks and crannies that when you open a door, a whole new world lies inside. Right? Yes. So it's, you know, it's got a good mix of those. And I always feel like you know that you live in a city when the sort of veneer of tourism wears off, when it's no longer just, for the first 7 years, I was like, it's all magical and beautiful and romantic. And then there was one gray, rainy February day where I was like, I hate it here. And everyone's like, you're home. You're home now.
We all feel that. We all do. But I hear that you've got a specific place in London that's your favourite.
Well, so I am South London through and through. The moment I moved here, because I moved for love, I moved in with my now ex-boyfriend in Streatham. And since then, I've lived in Croydon, Forest Hill, Peckham, Woolwich. Like, I've been all over South London. It's very funny because the A23 was my first route, the longest one in Europe. It used to boast on the left. I'm like, that's not a brag. You can be in traffic for hours all the way to Brighton. You can be in traffic for days. But now I've become so accustomed to it. You just get used to the roads and the cut-throughs and whatnot, you know. But for me, Peckham was probably my favorite. When I used to live there, like, Rye Lane felt like the center of the universe. Sometimes someone was singing and you're like, that is better than like any Beyonce song I've heard. And sometimes you're like, this is psychotic and it smells like fish and like nail salons. But that's fine. Like, it felt like like home in a way. I wish I could have stayed.
Now, we must talk about your tour, because it sounds something that's right up my street.
Yes.
You're talking about that lovely time of life, midlife.
Yes.
And perimenopause. We love it.
Yes. So yes, I definitely refer to them as the Middle Ages. Dark, very dark. But particularly with perimenopause, I think that, you know, all of us go through this time in our lives where the stuff that got us through the first part, you know, it's like the rocket booster that gets us into space, but that's not what's going to take us on our journey and bring us home. We have to change everything. And there's no way to prepare for that, right? Nobody really, but then half of us get this whole other thing where our body just goes like, peace, good luck, we're gonna peace out. Like, we're gonna go all haywire and get used to it. Try to keep cool, try to keep your job and have words come out of your mouth in a way that makes sense. And it's really difficult. So, you know, I just wasn't prepared for getting blindsided by a wrecking ball at this time in my life.
Yeah.
Some people are kind of like, oh, it's okay. And some of us have the ones where it's like, it's taken everything. And that was mine. And also I would say that what it does is it really makes you go, oh, like we really need to take care of women in society in a different way than we have been.
We do. I wish we could talk longer.
Oh,
Desiree
me too.
Birch,
There's so much there. Thank you for having me.
Great
what a
to talk
pleasure.
to you. And now it's time to lean into Halloween and head to Hanwell to show you one of the capital's most devilishly decorated homes. And Helen Keenan's there for us. Helen, show us around.
Look, I'm definitely at the spookiest house on the street in Hanwell, there's no denying that. And I'm joined by Priscilla. Yeah. And this is all your great idea, isn't it? Why don't you show us what there is we can see here?
So this year we put out a lot of our animatronics. So you can see little banjo players, you can see our nice little neighbor over our fence, our spooky pumpkin, our Grim Reaper. So we have a lot of animatronics that we put out every year.
And a pet cemetery.
Yeah, we have a nice little cemetery here. Nice little bits and projections all along the way. So we do a lot, every year.
And there's a lot of families who are queuing up to come through, aren't there?
Yes,
in fact, actually, we're just going to go and grab one of these families now and they can tell us all about it. Hello.
Hi.
So how are you enjoying it?
It's really fun and I love the decorations all around. It's really scary.
And you come here a lot, don't you?
We've been here few years in a row now, and every year it never fails to disappoint. It's been amazing, absolutely amazing, absolutely great. Thank you.
And how long were you waiting for?
Not long, about 5 minutes. Not too long. The queue wasn't too bad.
It was.
It was long.
Definitely. Worth the wait though, I'm sure. Now let me find Priscilla again because she's going to tell me a little bit more about it. So how long does it take you? Because there's a lot of decorations, isn't there, all over?
Absolutely. So for a setup like this, it takes us about a month. So we start at the beginning of October and we slowly start putting out certain props and we build from that, which is really nice because we have a lot of school kids that come by every day and they kind of see the progression along throughout the month, which is really, really sweet. But it basically takes us the entire month to do.
Wow, and it's for good causes too, right, isn't it? It's for the community, but also for charity.
Yes, so this year we're doing a charity and we've doing it with the RSPCA. So all our donations, 100% of it goes to the RSPCA this year.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Well, look, I don't want to hold up the crowds any longer because they're all desperate to get in here. Now, we've kept away from the rain so far, but let's find out what the weather has in store for the rest of the evening and over the weekend.
Wet by the coast, with a high chance of sun and splashing. TUI sponsors ITV London weekend weather.
Hi there, good evening. Halloween, and it's going to be a bit of a showery one. Leave your umbrellas though, because it's going to be blustery too. We have to cater to that. There are some pretty hefty showers around and about. At least it's mild. Now we do have quite a few bands of heavy showery rain heading towards us through the weekend. Sometimes scattered showers, sometimes a bit more organised. As we head into next week though, that is what was Hurricane Melissa, but really not giving us any impacts at all. Just see a few more showers. In fact, most of our weather coming up from the Bay of Biscay and the Azores. This evening then, some hefty showers out there, none of them lasting too long because they're being pushed through on the breeze. Then overnight we're going to see another band of more organised heavy showers. There's a possibility of some hail and thunder wrapped around that. As far as temperatures go, well, once we're back into clearer air, it might get a little bit cooler, but we're still looking at lows in double figures. The temperatures supported by the strength of the breeze. That breeze is going to be noticeable tomorrow. Sunny start, but then the showers will start pushing through, one or two sharp ones, but none of them lasting too long. And as we get into the evening, if you're off to the bonfires and the firework displays this weekend, well, hopefully the showers will ease off as we head into the evening. Temperature wise, we're looking at about a degree down on today, but still pretty mild for the time of year, with highs of around 14 or 15. Another band of showery rain moving through the early hours of Sunday morning. And then Sunday itself actually not looking too bad. Lighter winds, still a few showers, but slightly cooler. And then things become a bit more unsettled once again as we head into next week. Have yourself a great weekend.
TUI sponsors ITV London weekend weather.
Now, half a century ago today, a song was released that defied all convention in popular music. We are, of course, talking about Bohemian Rhapsody.
It's instrumental, really, in sort of raising our stature, I guess you'd call it. And also, I think it sort of broke.
Now, we thought it would be fitting on Halloween to finish tonight with a tour of 2 of London's cemeteries. We sent Sally to Barnes and Brompton to discover fascinating pasts and very different presents. While one graveyard has been vandalised, the other remains immaculate. Both, though, are final resting places of some of history's most famous characters, as Sally found out.
Graveyards can sometimes seem a little bit spooky, but in them are stories bursting with life and love. Our tour guide today is the storyteller and curator, Anthony Robbins.
One of my favourite hidden bits of London are the cemeteries at Brompton and Barnes. They tell us so much about ourselves, about our history, but better yet, they're a brilliant haven for wildlife and a fantastic place to come and visit.
We start at the somewhat hidden and overgrown Old Cemetery in Barnes.
It's hard for us to imagine now, but this was once a formal cemetery, neatly planted, lawns, well-tended graves. It was active from 1850 to about 1950, closed down, and then there were 30 years of vandalism, and I'm afraid there isn't a single head left in the whole of the cemetery.
But where there's been destruction, you will also find affection.
This is the final resting place of Ebenezer Cobb Morley. He died 101 years ago, and he's the founder, or at least the co-founder, of the FA, the Football Association.
And wow, still loved today.
Still loved, clearly loved today, and this is obviously a shrine where we remember Ebenezer.
Not far away in Brompton, another cemetery, another world.
So very different feel here to Barnes.
Totally different. Chalk and cheese.
Smart, grand, and the resting place of some names you may know.
If you've ever been to the John Snow pub in Soho, it commemorates this man, Dr. John Snow, who ended a cholera epidemic in 1857 purely by taking the handle off a water pump in Broad Street in Soho.
So this guy is a London hero.
This guy's absolutely a London hero. He was a teetotaler, so they named a pub after him.
I love that.
Another special person lies here too, this time a woman, Emmeline Pankhurst.
She campaigned for women to get the right to vote, which was finally achieved after a long-fought fight in 1928. Sadly, she died several months before, but I think we, all of us, men and women, owe her a very great deal.
There are tombs here from the ordinary to the extraordinary.
This is a stunning monument, Anthony.
It's stunning and it's unusual. Here we have Sub-Lieutenant Reginald Rex Warmford. He won the Victoria Cross, the highest medal for gallantry, for being the first person to shoot down a Zeppelin, an enemy airship, in World War I. It was quite a stunning achievement.
Anthony, if you could sum up these 2 cemeteries in one word, what would it be?
One word is tricky, but I think my word would be sanctuary.
And beautiful. Well, that's it from us. The evening news is next with Lucrezia, but for now, from all of the London team, have a good evening. Bye-bye.